Welcome to the Armchair GM podcast. Calgary Flames are 3-9-1 so far in 2026. It's not looking good. Some might say they're actually just downright boring. You are watching the Armchair GM podcast.
Boring is right. We're recording right after the game today against the Minnesota Wild, which I think it's hard to say it's the most boring game of the season because there's been some fucking snoozers, but it's not been fun to watch the Flames. I'll always tune in, I'll always watch, but it's hard to watch. Again, like we said a couple weeks ago, Chris, this is what we wanted.
Mm-hmm. Very careful what you wish for. That's not what we wanted. I believe you and I have said many times that what we want is an exciting brand of hockey and watch the next generation progress within their careers and get better. We're not seeing a ton of that. I mean, we do have some players that are, improving upon themselves in the last couple of weeks, which is great. I wouldn't say that really anybody's there. One guy seems to be having himself a hell of a January, but I'm sure we'll get into that.
Yeah.
It's just, it's weird, right? They don't seem to have any sort of cohesion whatsoever. Like you watch other teams and they've got these little set plays that they attempt, and sometimes it works, and they, whenever they're cycling, they're always in position.
And moving and winning.
They're firing the puck around the net. There's always the guy there to receive the pass. But with the Calgary Flames, it's almost like there's an entire team worth of guys that practice all by themselves. Like they just don't look like a team at all.
Yeah.
Right? They can't pass to each other. They're always offside. We've had a couple of times where they've run into each other. There's just there's no set plays. There's just no excitement. There's just nothing, right? And
We were
obviously I'm gonna have to put that on the coach, but I mean, as it is right now, it's not looking good for Huska. You and I have both I'll say rallied behind Coach Huska for the first couple of years, and let's give him a chance, and he's done all right. But I mean, I know you've in the past have given him shit for the flip-flopping on the lines and things like that, but like in general, you and I kind of thought that he'd be the guy to get the youth motivated and get them going, given what he was able to accomplish with Anderson, having him in his younger years, and also coming up from the Wranglers slash Stockton side of things. We thought that he potentially might be good, right? Good for the young guys, but his style of play is just not translating to the NHL, in my opinion, at all.
So I agree with most of that. Now I think that Gradine is one of the most exciting players on the team currently. I think that Zary has really stepped up lately in the last 2 weeks or so. I think Sharon Govich in the last 4 weeks or so. Not that he's can be considered young. I don't know. But and Brustevich has been very good. He's a little suspect on one play tonight, but in general, he's been very good. And I think Huska's slowly playing him more and more. I don't have the numbers in front of me to say that for sure, but it seems like he's out there a lot more. He's been playing power play minutes a lot, and he looks really good on the power play. So here, the only yes, I agree. The style of play that he's playing right now, or that he's telling the team to play right now, is not very good. It's horrifically boring, and it stifles any excitement. It's not selling tickets at all. But I just want to say this, and I don't know if it's for sure true, but I'm under the impression that the mandate from Murray Edwards to Don Maloney to Craig Conroy down to Huska right now is still winning, which is
Right.
fucking stupid. But I'm under the impression, mostly from Pat Steinberg, that it's going to change around the time we come back from the Olympics.
Yeah.
That it's going to be more of a play the kids type of a style, and I'm curious how, because like you said with the whole Anderson thing, how Huska really kind of almost saved Anderson's career when he was a younger player in the minors. I'd almost go
Hmm.
that say that, but like Huska came with this promise of being a good developmental coach, and when he got promoted, he
Hmm.
came with the same promise of being a good developmental coach. So I'm curious to see if that mandate changes, how Huska changes, because right now, I'll give him this. This team isn't winning if they're playing high flying hockey. They're not winning now, but they have a better chance of
Right.
winning how they're playing than they do playing high flying, right? Whereas
Yeah.
maybe if they're playing the kids way more and trying to get those guys going, the guys who actually have some feet going, maybe it'll be more exciting. We might lose by a lot more than we usually lose by, but at least it might be a little bit more exciting, and maybe the kids will start producing a little more. I don't know.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see if that happens.
Yeah. It's hard to say, right? I mean, like like you said, like we had this concept or this idea that Huska was good with developing the young guys and whatnot. I feel like one of the best ways to develop the young guys is to allow them to play.
Hmm.
Um, um, that was, coming from, Daryl to Ryan. That was, kind of everybody's thing right away. It was like, now, everybody gets playing time and whatnot, and then who was before who was before
Daryl,
Sutter? That was
Jeff Ward.
Jeff. Was it Jeff Ward? So I mean, in my opinion,
Everybody got playing time under him.
well, everybody got playing time. You just didn't play with the same guy twice a night, right?
Yeah.
And and I feel like Ryan Huska potentially studied both Jeff and Daryl and has taken those two aspects of their coaching style and put it into his concept that we're currently watching, right? With his line changing and his his lack of youth movement. And, it's just it's baffling to me. It really is baffling to me.
I yeah, I agree. It's really hard to watch, and I think a lot of it is mandate based. I'm super curious to see what happens after the Olympic break, and if it continues after the Olympic break, I'm going to be all out on Huska. Right now,
Right.
I'm on the fence because I do know that like he helped a lot of those kids, the Andersons and the Mangiapanis and all those guys
Mm.
take that step up. Now, there's a difference from, you know, getting those guys from the minors to the big leagues to making NHLers into like stars, or in making, borderline
Yeah.
NHLers into middle six guys. Like there's a big
Yeah.
difference between all of those steps, right? And there's a legitimate chance that Ryan Huska could just be a really, really good AHL coach or a really good assistant coach. There's a very big chance of that, but I'm not ready to throw him completely under the bus quite yet, because I'd like to see what happens if he's given that mandate. And I think it'll be obvious if he is given that mandate. And if he's
Mhm.
not, and that doesn't happen, then See ya.
Yeah. Yeah. See ya. And at the end of the day, if he ends up being a really, really good AHL coach, there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
NHL teams want that, right? That's what they want on their AHL team. Like plenty of players have been gone the same path, right? Really good AHL doesn't translate to NHL,
driving
so
hunt.
they're back. Brent Hunt, yeah,
Matthew
Matthew
Phillips.
Phillips, yeah. Like it's just there's
Yeah.
so many players like in our organization and others that is what it is, right? It's just sorry, it just didn't work
He
out. It's
could be a
fine,
quad A
but
coach.
yeah, but you still got a job, if you do want it, and it's right here making a tenth of the salary, but that's fine.
Yeah.
So be it. It didn't work out, but
You make a tenth of the
yeah,
salary, but you also don't travel nearly as much.
mm,
So, yeah. Who knows?
I mean, yeah, is the travel really the issue though? I don't know. It
No,
may
no,
be for
no.
the
I'm
family
just
guys.
saying, like, if he's in the AHL, he gets to see his family more and
Mm,
isn't traveling out east because the AHL is a much more in division kind of a
fair. Yeah,
league. Yeah,
yeah, that's fair.
yeah. They, I
Mm,
think, like, okay. Well, since we're talking about the AHL, we'll talk about Zane Prek. But I was watching a couple of the games that Prek's been in the AHL against the Laval Rocket, which are the Canadians' minor team, and I think they said that was the first time the Laval Rocket have ever visited Calgary.
really,
Yeah, because it's an in division thing.
that's insane.
Yeah,
They've been in Calgary for like
he may
4 years.
she may Sandra Priscina may have said that it. I can't remember exactly what she said. I'm pretty sure she said that, but it may have been in however many years. But it's been a long time,
Yeah,
right?
it's interesting.
Because it's a very in division thing. Like if you pay attention to the schedule, they'll play the Ontario Reign, they'll play um, the Oilers minor team and the San Diego Gulls. They'll play all those
Mhm.
teams like 8, 9, 10 times. It's ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I suppose that is true. I never really thought about how many games are that close. That makes sense though.
yeah. Have you paid attention to any of those games Perk's been on his conditioning sting?
And just highlight stuff. I haven't actually had a chance to watch any of them. I think tomorrow's his last night as well, right? So I
Yeah,
should probably tune into that one so I at least get a whiff of what he's supposed to look like eventually in the NHL.
yeah. So I didn't watch any complete games because I have a really hard time. Um, my connection has a really hard time when I'm sailing the high seas as opposed to when I'm streaming properly on a Sportsnet app or something like that. So I couldn't watch I couldn't watch the AHL games properly, but I watched about half of two different games that Prek played in the AHL, which is really good that he's getting the opportunity. And I listened to another game. Now, the first game that I listened to, he seemed like he was caught out of position. I think it was his first or second game. He was
Mhm.
caught out of position a lot, and he was seems a little slow. But then in the second game, he came in, or in the second game, I watched a part of and listened to the rest of. Anyways, I think he got 2 assists that game, and he seemed like he was flying out there. He was beating guys back defensively. He
Mhm.
was beating guys offensively, making really creative plays. And for some reason, the AHL players that we have can collect hard passes that the NHL players we have cannot. Um,
Bring him up. Bring him up.
Bring them up, yeah. So that was exciting to see, and it was exciting to see him zipping around, and you could see him gaining confidence as it was happening. And then the next
Yeah.
game, he got 2 goals, I believe. Um, I'm sure most people watching would have seen that one absolutely fucking beautiful goal, um, where he kind of did a
Right.
spinorama around the boards and rushed in to the right of the
Yeah.
goalie and put it top corner over the goalie's like shoulder, just so quickly, so accurately, and it
Yeah.
was pretty impressive.
Yeah. Well,
That's
and
the thing, that shot beats NHL goalies often.
right.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. If you can put it in place like that, then yeah, you're going to beat most goalies that are out there.
that's the one you've
Yeah.
seen. I'm guessing.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen that. I saw both of his goals from the last game. Plus, watched like a YouTube video of just a bunch of different plays from the game where he had the two assists and just snippets of his first game, which I mean, he was just coming out of from World Junior, had a bit of an injury on a team that he's never seen before. It all makes sense, right? He's obviously not going to shine out there, the first game. It is what it is, right? People shouldn't
Mhm.
read into that, in my opinion, at all. And then, as you said, next game he gets a couple of assists and he's starting to, get his mojo and starting, he's had a couple of practices with his teammates now, and he can start asserting his will at that point. And then, get into this last game where he had a couple of goals and, he's clearly feeling it and and he's creative. We already know he's creative. And he's if he's given the ice to do it, he's gonna wow a lot of people that are watching.
Yeah, it's just a matter of him getting the ice to do it.
Mhm.
Well, i- it's it's a matter of him getting the ice time to do it in the NHL, and also a matter of him getting the space to do it in the NHL, which doesn't happen nearly as much as it does in the AHL. And it's
Right.
also a matter of him being able to muscle and speed his way through guys. Like I'm not going to say he can do that in the AHL yet, but like he can in junior, right?
Mhm.
Now, those two things are the things that are going to be the most fascinating things to watch when it comes to Parak over the next year or so.
Yeah.
His speed. So, and I want to make this completely clear. Zane Parak's skating is elite. He has
Yeah.
amazing crossovers. His trickiness when it comes to stepping around guys in the offensive zone is amazing. His
Yeah.
effort when it comes to getting back is underrated, but his speed is a problem.
Yeah.
So his trickiness and edges and creativeness of his skating are really good, but his speed is awful. And
Yeah.
that's a problem. And his weight is a problem. He needs to bulk up a little bit muscle wise in order
Yeah.
to be able to be a full time NHLer. But I don't think his effort isn't there. And I just want to say that because I think a lot of people see his straight up stance when he's skating and think that he's not trying, but he is. That's just he needs to work on his actual technique of speed skating. But I don't think it's that he's not trying. I just think that he doesn't have that skill yet. And that's a thing that maybe not this year, but you could see Matt Coronado last year had learned from Rebecca Johnston and um, Matthew Kachuk had in the past. And, we have a very good asset in a skating coach. I'd like to see Zane Parekh take a lot of time over the next year or so training with her and also the strength staff.
Yeah. Yeah. The strength is definitely a problem. It's bizarre to me to think that a person can get to this level of their career, I'll say,
Mhm.
and still not be or not have speed skating as part of the things that you've worked on, because you're right, like his style of skating doesn't translate to speed. It never has, and it will never. He's going to have to completely change his style
Yeah.
in order to, and it's bizarre to me that it's never been taught to him or he hasn't accepted it. I'm not sure, like it's one or the other, right? But surely some coaches along the way have said, hey, you know how I can increase your speed, let's go to power skating.
Can I give you my opinion on that?
Sure.
In junior, he burns
Mhm.
past people on both ends of the ice consistently. So he doesn't see it, right? It's hard for young people to understand an issue that they don't see, right? Whereas I feel like, you know, I feel like his first few games in the NHL this year was a big eye opener for him.
Right.
And and I there's a lot of the fan base, not a lot. There's some of the fan base that has really turned on him. But the thing is I think Zane Perek has all of the stuff that you can't teach, and he is missing a couple of the things that you can teach. And I want to see him be taught those things by professionals that he'll listen to. And that's another
Yeah.
key is that
Yeah,
he
he's
listens.
gonna have to be willing. He's gonna have
Yeah,
to be willing to take that criticism and or that lesson from other. I don't know what kind of mindset he has, given his age and just kind of how generally that age group will think. I don't know how well he'll receive being coached by a female. I hope he I hope he's smarter than that and
I
get
was
past
gonna
it.
say I
I
don't
know.
think that would be a problem for kids these days, but who knows?
Well, if if you know anything about teenagers and pre-20-year-olds, there's a lot of bro, and there's a lot of sexism there. So I don't know if,
Maybe.
especially
Yeah,
in the sports
I know.
world,
Yeah.
especially in the professional athlete world. So I'm hoping that he'll take it and improve upon it. Like like you said, if his first few games in the NHL was an eye opener for him, then I would sure hope that he'd be willing to listen to everyone, right?
And I'm sorry if there's a single person out there who wants to be a really good hockey player or a really good sports person. If you're not listening to a multiple time Olympic gold medalist to get better at your
Yeah,
fucking craft, you can fuck right off.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. I don't,
it
I don't,
doesn't,
I don't
yeah,
care. I don't care what gender they are. That means
yeah,
nothing. Um,
exactly.
the the one thing that I will see, and I do understand the fan base to some degree when it comes to not being very happy with how he's started his NHL career, because all we hear is how good he is in junior, that he's the next thing, and all that stuff. And then he comes in and he didn't look good, in the NHL, um, for whatever reason, for a number of reasons, really.
He had
Speed
flashes.
is.
He had flashes, but most of it was
He had
clear he
flashes,
was
but
direct.
to people that don't understand the game that well, those flashes aren't recognizable to them.
Yeah,
They're they look at sheets and they're looking for assists and goals and flashy plays and stuff like that. They don't look at stick work behind the net and exit passes like zone passes and stuff like that. They don't
effort.
they don't see those types of scenarios and see that, okay, you know what, there is maybe something there. Obviously he struggles defensively, which is something we've always known to be the case. he didn't really struggle defensively per se in World Junior, but again, he's playing against the
A little
same age
bit.
bracket, right?
He did a little
You
bit.
know, he did a bit,
Not
but not
nearly as much, but it was a little bit, yeah.
yeah, but it's not as glaring when you're playing against your own, your own age bracket and skill set, right? Obviously, when you get back to the NHL, those will be much more glaring and
And
obvious, and they'll be taken advantage of.
that's why his AHL play has been very,
Mhm.
I don't wanna say exciting to me, but it's been really, it's been a positive development for
That's
me because
that's what I was going to say. It's a positive sign.
yeah,
Mm, yeah.
100%.
Mm.
Now this episode isn't all about Zane Perek, but I'm glad we got into it because I forgot we hadn't talked about him in a while. But I still fully believe Zane Parek's gonna be a superstar for us. And now
Yeah.
he's gonna be a superstar that Chris is gonna be very frustrated with a lot because Chris likes his defenseman to defend. I like my defenseman to defend as well. But also if they're a positive influence enough offensively that it overturns their
Right.
defensive deficiencies, then I'm okay with that. But it has to get to that point. And he's got a few years because the Flames aren't going to be competitive for a few years. So he's got a few years to learn that. And
Right.
next year he can play in the AHL all year. So that's good. And
I mean,
another good development is a couple weeks ago, the OHL trade deadline happened. So now
mm,
Perek can't go back to the OHL. So he's going to be in the NHL for the rest of the year.
right.
Now, is Huska going to play him a lot? That's part of what I'm interested to see with the possible change of mandate that might happen. Um, we'll see.
My biggest fear is that the only way to get Breck into the lineup means Hunter Brashevich is going down, and I don't think that should happen. I think Hunter has proved himself to be an everyday NHLer. So I think that would be a real shame and a real kick in the teeth for Hunter. Um, I I truly think that in order they have to see the writing on the wall, and if their plan is to shift into that direction, then the time is right freaking now to get rid of at least another defender.
Yeah. So let's transition
Right?
into that because you wanted to
Yeah.
talk about this whole trade White Cloud versus trade Uyghur situation. The
Yeah.
fan base
Like
has argument
that's right.
conversation.
And that's the only reason why I kind of want to bring it up slightly. I don't even need to, spend very much time on it. It's just, but that seems to be where the conversation is now is that, since White Cloud came in and, the fan base has turned on Uyghur. They did, a few weeks ago. And I get it. His play
Rightfully
this year
so.
has not been good. Yeah, his play has not been good.
I
Um,
haven't turned on
mm,
Uyghur. I think
mm,
he's still going to be good for multiple years upcoming,
yeah.
but I'm fully ready to admit that he's been legitimately fucking awful this year. All of like
Yes.
all of his decisions have been bad. And like
Yeah.
I'm not even saying 99%, I'm saying all of his decisions have been bad on the ice.
The only plus that I'll give Uyghur this year is his willingness to take damage blocking shots.
Yeah.
But if you need to take damage blocking shots, that means the other team has the puck taking shots.
Uyghur's always been a shot blocker though. Like
Totally.
he's been what was it 200 200 200 200 shots, 200 hits, 200 blocks for a couple years now. And
Yeah.
that's a lot, right? He's but this year the difference is those shot blocks aren't leading to zone exits or
Mhm.
transition plays or goalie freezes or face off somehow or anything. They're just going right
Yeah.
back to the opponent's stick. It's almost an anomaly how Uyghur is trying so hard because none of it is an effort thing. Uyghur is full effort all the time. It's just
Yeah.
somehow his angles are a little off. His It's hard to explain because his decision making has been bad. His pinches, like he's trying when he's doing those when he's making those pinches, he's trying
Yeah.
to do something positive for the team. He's just doing it at the wrong fucking time every time. It's mind blowing, man.
Yeah, it's been a hard watch for Mackenzie. It's, for the entire season. Like I
It's an
wouldn't
off
even
year.
give him. He's had flashes. You know what I mean? Like it's just been the whole year has just been one struggle after the other. And I feel bad for him because damn well, just even by the look on his face, that he knows it's happening, but he just for whatever reason can't get out of it. I I'm on the same line as you. I think next year with a reset, he's gonna come back. You know, is he gonna be the 20 goal guy? Probably not. That was a career year and all that fun stuff, but I'm more concerned with just his defense.
Well, that's the thing
I mean,
about a
'cause
career year, right? You can't expect a guy who's not a 20 goal guy who got 20 goals once to be a 20 goal
yeah.
guy. You can't expect Mangiapane to be the 35 goal guy every year. You can't expect, you know,
You know what, Dylan? I don't
Joe
like
to
your
be
tone.
115 points every year. Rest in peace. You can't expect Kachuk to be 115 points every year. You can't expect Lindholm to get 40 goals every year. Career years are career years for a reason. And
That's right.
Uyghur had one. That's
He
great.
had one. It was a
He's
couple of
still a
years
great
ago,
player.
20
He's
goals.
having a shit year.
His highest goals before that and the year after was 8, um, which is respectable for a half and half stay-at-home defender who likes to pinch on occasion. Um, yeah, is
Yeah,
what it is. Like I said, I'm not real worried about him per se in the long run for the future. This year is clearly a write-off for the organization and himself. So I think he resets. Now, one thing I'll say when it comes to McKenzie is I think he's going to end up. I still today think that he'll be the one that receives the C after Backlund leaves, but I feel like that's not going to be until he's about 35, and so he won't be here all that long with that
with the C.
captain with the C on his chest.
So you're
Um,
saying you don't think he gets traded?
I don't think he gets traded. I personally think that White Cloud has more value if we're talking about obviously if we're talking about trade this year, he definitely has more value. Um, I I really like White Cloud. I
Yes,
like what he
I figured
brings
you would.
defensively. I I like I like his interviews. I like he seems to be like the team seems to like him. He just and everything I hear about him in the locker room that he's always fun and likes to joke and have a good time, and I think he brings up morale. There's a lot to like about Zach Whitecloud, and I mean if the team was in a different spot, I would keep Zach Whitecloud absolutely.
Me too.
But unfortunately, we're not at that point. We need to make room
If you're competitive,
for Perec to come in and not saying that White Cloud's taken away minutes from Hunter Prestevich or anything like that, but in order to get the
he is.
players up that we need, I know, in order to get the players up that we need or want, unfortunately, some guys are going to have to go, and I think given what we have right now in the roster, I think um, White Cloud is one of those guys that will garner the best return. I think
Mhm.
Hanley potentially could go somewhere for a third, um,
Yeah, I
or
don't think
or
he's
Pahal.
anywhere near that,
I don't think so either. I mean,
but I honestly don't care. So
yeah,
here's the thing.
mm,
I think we talked about this last time we were doing a live show, but Hanley's a lefty, White Cloud's a righty.
Yeah.
Huska is fucking obsessed with anybody who isn't Uyghur playing their handedness side, right?
Right.
Um, and that's fair. A lot of coaches are. There's very few players in the league. Um, I think Miro Heiskanen is one of them. Like there's Uyghur's one of them. There's a very few players in the league, defenseman wise, where coaches are okay with playing them either side
Yeah.
every game. Now, if there's an injury, whatever, but that's a different story, right? But
Mm.
roster construction wise, that's why that's one of the reasons why I'm on team trade Whitecloud. I again, just like you, I love Zach Whitecloud. If we were competitive, he's kind of like the like morale wise, spot in the lineup wise, um term wise actually. He's kind of like the defenseman Blake Coleman.
Mm.
He's
That's
just
high praise coming from you.
yeah, I love Blake Coleman. Middle of the lineup guy, awesome for morale, great
Mm.
leader, um, relatively cheap on the cap, uh, a year and a half left. Just everything kind of, and I just thought of that just now. I never really put that together, but
Yeah.
I just thought that just now. But and that's the same reason why I think it's time to not get rid of, but to trade Coleman is because the Calgary Flames are in a era of their team where they need to be getting younger and not extending guys longer and not
Mhm.
um you know like that's one of the reasons I want Coleman gone is because I'd like to see Gradine get more opportunity. I'd like to see um Stromgren get more opportunity. I'd like to see Hanzik get more opportunity next year. I'd like to see when it comes to White Cloud, if White Cloud is here and uh, still when Zane Perek comes up, you're right.
Mhm.
Hunter Brstevich is going to have to go down. Now, that's going to be good timing because the Olympic break will be coming and Hunter Brstevich is waiver exempt. So he can go down and play top level AHL minutes for a couple weeks there when or 3 weeks or whatever it is, however long the Olympic break is. Hunter Brstevich can go down and play all of the AHL games. But I want him to come right back up after that because he does not deserve to be down there to do anything
Mhm.
but play when he wouldn't be playing otherwise. So that's why I'd like to see Whitecloud moved. And
Yeah.
that's all there's to it. Is nothing against the player. I love the player. I think
Yeah.
he's awesome defensively. Everything about him. I like the player, except for
Mhm.
his he blocks Brstevich from being able to come up because we can't send Perek anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly. And that's the thing, right? I mean, a Western Canadian, good. Yeah. Just there's a lot to like there. I find it's pretty high praise coming from you to compare him to, call him the defensive Coleman. Um, except for the fact that, because you said, middle of the lineup guy. Zach's been playing 24 plus minutes a game.
Yeah, but
His,
I mean, like on a good team,
yeah, yeah,
a good
yeah,
team would have Zach Whitecloud playing 19 to 21 minutes a night. We've had him
yeah,
playing 25 minutes a night, you know?
yeah. He's the fourth defenseman on a good team, I think.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like his ice time increased by 5 minutes when he came to Calgary. That's a big jump for a guy that's, what is he, 29.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so, but yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. I think, just given the circumstance, the conversation between Uyghur and White Cloud. because of the year Uyghur's had, I think his trade value is next to nothing.
I was going
So
to point that
it's
out
kind
too.
of a
Thank you.
it's kind of a wasted a wasted trade in my opinion. If we're looking for actual return, unfortunately, Zach Whitecloud's the guy at the moment.
Now,
When
I
that
don't
all,
think Uyghur has no value. I think that
I don't think he has no value either, but
teams understand what's going on. Like he's been one of the matchup guys on one of the worst offensive teams in the league. Is he going to eat minuses?
yeah,
That's what fucking happens.
yeah.
you know, um, so I think other teams get that. I just don't think. I think his value is a lot lower than it'll be, even you know next November. He'll have a good
Mhm.
month to start, and teams will be like, "Oh, Uyghur's back," you know.
Yeah. If you
Um,
think of, you said, will he take minuses? Sure. When you think about the fact, so he's minus 31 this year, and I'm just
yeah,
going just strictly on plus minus,
yeah,
minus 31 this year, but a career of plus 81. Right.
yeah. And he spent
He
a
can
lot of
clear,
years on a really shit.
yeah,
Uh,
defensive team.
yeah, like he spent a lot of years on a really bad Florida team, a couple of years
Yeah.
on a good Florida team, and then a few years on a bad Flames team. And one of those years, he was a plus a lot. I
Plus,
think 20
plus
something
eight,
or
plus 18 was his
18. Yeah,
most for the Flames. He
yeah,
was, plus 40 and plus 29 his last 2 years in Florida. I mean, obviously they were amping up to win the cup. They just needed that one piece, right? And then we stole Uyghur from Florida, just plucked him right out of there like they didn't even see it coming or
yeah.
something. I can't remember how that went down exactly. At least I don't like to talk about it.
You purposely blacked it out.
I may have. That's what happens when there's a traumatic event in your life is you kind of have one of those moments, right? I mean, that was probably the worst summer in recent history the Flames have ever had, right?
Yeah, well,
That was
it's the worst
that was
one
a
I can remember.
that was bad. Like we lost three of our top players in the
Three of your
span of
top.
like
Are you
2 weeks.
talking Gaudreau, Kachuk, Monahan?
Yeah,
Yeah, and then like just a couple months after that, Lindholm and
yeah.
Zadorov,
For sure.
and yeah, it's been tough for the Flames the last few years. But
Mhm.
not that I was ever a Zadorov fan.
What
But
I'm what I'm saying is I still haven't recovered from Markstrom walking out the door. That's what I'm saying.
you mean you're still celebrating that Markstrom walked out the door?
Or something.
Yeah. Um.
Good riddance.
Yeah. So I think we're both on the same page here, where it's probably best to keep Uyghur for another year, see where it goes.
Yeah.
Um, he's obviously a guy who likes the city and likes, not that all that shit matters as much as a lot of people think it does, but he's a guy that likes the city. He's a guy that likes, no, I think he wants to see the new building, play in the new building. I think he's a an ambassador for the city. The fact that he joined Parachutes for Pets with Michael
Mhm.
Backlund, and all of these types of things that he's done in the city. I feel like he's planted his roots, and I think that before this year, most Calgary Flames fans were on board with him being the captain. I'd like to see him stick around, um, and I just think that asset management wise, you're a lot less likely to win a trade with Uyghur right now, or even break even on a trade with Uyghur right now.
Mhm.
Um, Now, I still think you get more for Uyghur right now than you'd get for White Cloud, but I think that you'd more likely to break even on a White Cloud trade than Uyghur, because I think Uyghur's worth way more than White Cloud is when he's good. You know what I mean?
There's a different ceiling for sure. Different style of play, different makeup. And another thing to to keep in mind, the Uyghur contract, right? He still has 5 years at 6.25, where
Gonna be
Whitecloud has
36.
two. Yeah, I mean, and he's 32 now. He'll be 37, going into 38 when this contract expires. Um, so that would be a hard pill for anybody to trade for at the moment, given the year that Mackenzie has had, in my opinion, where Whitecloud has 2 more years at 2.75, and he's only 29. So I feel like that alone just raises or makes the value difference between the two players.
Yeah.
So
Shall
if it
we
ends up being a swing and a miss.
um shall we move on to Kadri? Because you wanted to talk about the whole Kadri trade
Oh, just
situation, right?
yeah. Well, I mean, everybody's been trying to talk about the Kadri trade situation, but of course, it's all been shut down with the fact that he's got his trade protection and all that fun shit. But
Yeah, he's only
apparently,
got
it's been
13
reported now.
teams on it though.
Yeah, that's true. But the way the Flames go, the player's going to dictate that fucking trade. So what does it matter what he gave the team at the beginning of the year? It doesn't fucking matter.
Not only
Um,
that, okay.
but apparently,
You go ahead.
it's been reported that he's willing to potentially accept a trade, which to me is just code for I'll decide once you tell me who the trade partner is, and we'll see.
So you're saying, because a lot of people are treating this like a trade request or a trade demand. Are you saying that it's not a demand? It's a, you know, if the right one comes
Wh-
along, then sure, just like every other fucking player in the league.
Correct.
Yeah, that's where I am. And the thing
Yeah.
about the Flames is, even if they have a guy who has trade protection, who's said basically anything except for trade me now or trade me as soon as you can. If that player has term, they are not trading them. They
Right.
will not. They wait and they wait and they wait. Look at Anderson, look at Lindholm, look at pretty much everyone recently except for Markstrom. And the only reason they traded Markstrom is because he was being a bitch in the room and um, Wolf was ready
Mhm.
to come up, right? That's the only, there was a succession plan. But
Yeah.
when it comes to Kadri, there's no center they're ready to bring up and call the number one center. Kadri's not a number one center. That's me
Yeah. I was
talking.
going to say.
But there's no center they're ready to call a number one center. There's how many years left on that? 4 years, 4 years left on that. It's $7 million. He's
Yeah. Three
not
more after this.
demanding a trade. He's saying he's willing to take one if it comes. Maybe willing to entertain the thought. Like, sure.
I mean,
None of
I
this
mean,
is committal at all. So maybe just
yeah.
don't buy into it until something actually happens.
Yeah.
Like,
And
I'm number one on the trade Kadri front. I want him gone. I cannot stand watching that guy play hockey. I don't want him on my team anymore. I want any return we can get for him. It is diminishing by the day because he's been fucking awful for 2 months. And it's time, but I don't believe it's going to happen. I just don't. There's no history that the Flames have had recently that has said they're going to trade a guy who's got term left, who's hasn't demanded a trade. So that's where I stand.
the the only the only difference I find with this one is I don't think there was any conversations with Elias Lindholm that he was entertaining the idea of being traded. I think they were in negotiations for contract renewal, and then things
Yeah.
just went tits up,
Yeah.
right? And
And
he
they've
became
been out
very sulky and
including
and
Anderson.
then right, yeah. So I think it's not that they don't have the history. I don't know that they've. I mean, they have a history of his poor asset management. Absolutely. I mean, they've had that history going on 30 years, 40, 30 for sure. I think, yeah, just I mean, what like Saint Louis, really? Let's get rid of that guy. I know. Anyways, no, I'm just going too far back. Anyways,
No, no, no,
I
no.
think
It's not
I,
too far back for me.
I think potentially there is a chance that he said he wanted out,
Oh,
but
there's a
I
chance.
think I think any sort of conversation that's going to be leaked at this moment is going to be it's entertaining the idea, whatever. And so I'm not buying too much into it now until I start seeing some real reporting behind it. When you start hearing about what are teams offering, what are potentially who are the teams involved and that sort of thing. Of course, Toronto's going to be involved because they're involved in every trade that could ever be made in the history of the NHL. Um, don't buy into whatever that is. Brad's not going to trade for him. Even Brad's not that stupid. He is that stupid. Never
Oh,
mind.
trade.
Um,
Brad already traded for Monahan in the first. Remember?
do you think we can do that? Do you think
I
we
actually
can
saw somebody post on
get
Facebook
Willie in a first? Should we get Willie in a first?
asking if we could get Monahan for Kadri, and people are just like, "What are we?" Like almost every comment on there was like, "Yes, I like Monahan more." But like, what's the point in trading for a fucking 32-year-old center or whatever Monahan is? Like,
Right. Yeah.
this isn't helping the
It's not.
situation.
It's not. It's not. I think we should just go for Willie and a first straight across for Kadri. Done. Make it happen. Fuck you, Brad.
I wouldn't hate that, but again, that's not
You
gonna
put
happen.
us in this situation of get us out of it. Anyways, you don't think it's going to happen, or you don't want it to happen because you've been pretty steadfast in that it's not going to happen this year, and you don't want to be proved wrong. I know
No,
it's happening.
I
I've
really
seen
want it to
you
happen.
for
I really want it to happen. Like I
oh, I know you
want.
do.
I never. You can rewind this back to the summer of 2022, and you can see episodes of me saying, "I really fucking hope we don't sign Kadri. I hope we don't find a way to make the money to sign this guy." And every step of the way, I'll give him credit for the odd good game here and there, but
Yeah.
absolutely no fucking way would I ever
Yeah.
like I if we traded him for future considerations, I'd be fucking happy. Honestly.
I mean,
Get him the
I
fuck off my team.
the I, however, would not. He's worth more than that.
He is worth more than that. It would be shit asset management, but like I'd also be happy
Yeah.
to never see him play on my team again.
Fair. 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 Hey, speaking of which, speaking of guys you don't want on your team, do you think Pospisil's elbowing penalty against the Wild was just a reputation penalty?
I wouldn't really call it an elbow. So
Hmm.
I don't
I'm
know
trying
if
to
I'd
figure out
call it
what
a reputation penalty, but it was bad
I,
repping for sure.
I'm just like I don't understand what he did wrong there,
Yeah.
let alone
I'd
elbowing.
have to look
Anyway,
at it again. That
yeah,
game was putting me to sleep.
I don't know. That just like elbowing. Then I saw it again. I'm like, well, it's clearly not elbowing. And I'm like, what did he actually do other than just run a guy over that was there right around the puck? Isn't that an everyday hockey play?
I'd rather have Pospisil on the team than Kadri.
That is a bold statement, sir.
Is it? I don't think it is.
I mean, I
Younger, more
know
engaged,
fair.
gives more fucks,
Yeah,
back
it
checks, forward
definitely
checks,
gives more pucks.
doesn't go offside fucking 17 times a game. Just
He did. He did with Kadri because Kadri did his little line
Yeah.
tonight, and it was like, all you had to do was skate, dude. Just skate,
Just
just get into the
talking
zone, then fuck around.
talking in the Reddit chat today. One of the guys was counting Kadri offsides and he lost count.
Yeah, it's a tough thing.
Or not just the times Kadri went offside, but the times Kadri caused an offside. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Here's the thing.
Couple tonight.
I'm obviously exaggerating future considerations. Kadri, if we got an offer for a late first round pick and we didn't take it, I'd be slightly upset.
Yeah,
Um, because I think that he's worth that. I think he's worth a late first round pick at this stage in his career with 3 years left at $7 million
yeah,
and completely checked out of Calgary. Um, and just a fucking shit player, in my opinion. I think he's worth that because other teams seem to think that he's got this fire inside of him that I've never seen.
yeah.
Um,
They sure talk
so,
about it a lot on the broadcast,
right?
just
Oh,
how good it.
apparently kicking the boards and breaking your stick means you're a good player.
He's got passion, Dylan. It just shows that he cares.
Yeah.
You know what else shows that he cares?
Back
When he
checking.
sits, when he's sitting on the ice
Right.
after fucking up a play, and then he winds to the ref, and then as slowly as he possibly can, he skates back to the bench because he has no fucking urgency.
Yeah. The only time he has urgency is when he's skating over the blue line before the puck.
He's pretty urgent when he's yelling at the refs for running into a player and falling over.
Yeah. Anyways,
He just needs to urgently get off the team, is what I'm saying.
yeah. And it's funny because I see more and more people seeing what I've seen for the last several years and what you've seen for the last several years. And it's funny because a lot of these people that I'm seeing coming over to our side now that they are ready to rebuild or whatever. A lot of those people were the
Excellent.
people who thought that Kadri was just the best player ever. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, he was doing all these things before. He's just exaggeratingly bad now. He, it's
It's
happening
glaring.
more now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
long story short, if you can trade Kadri, do it. I highly doubt they do. I highly doubt they trade Coleman. I want them to trade one or both of them. I'd like White Cloud to be traded as well. However, I will be happy if any one of those three get traded before the trade
yeah.
deadline this year. If one of those three get traded, I will be happy. I will be surprised, but I will be happy. I don't think they're
Yeah.
proactive enough to do any of that, but I'll be very happy if any of them get traded
Yeah,
because
I
that's
agree.
the stage this team is at. They need future
Well,
assets for current players.
I think as far as urgent need today, I think White Cloud is more so, given Friday is Purek's last AHL game, and then he's going to be with the main clubs, and so we
Yeah.
need to figure out a way to get him into the lineup so we can continue with his progression and his development.
Yeah. I
As
saw a quote. I didn't hear it with my own ears, so I don't know if it's true, but I did hear a quote that Perek is supposed to play his first game back. Like, not that he's obliged to, but that the team wants him to play his first game back. So
yeah,
be interested to see if that happens. But also that'll mean that Brustevich might be down in the A. So here's another just last thought about the Brustevich thing. I'd rather Perek be able to stay in the A because I think that's where he would do the most development.
Yeah.
However, there's a difference between like sending Honzek down and sending Brustevich down. I think Brustevich is still a guy who can benefit from AHL minutes. There's a bunch of guys on the team who won't anymore, or a couple guys on the team who won't um, benefit from AHL minutes anymore. I still think that Brustevich does. So if he gets sent down, he does not deserve it. Okay. He is NHL ready, but I don't think he's so far NHL ready that top line, top power play minutes on a much better team than the Flames are in their league, being the Wranglers. Um, that's going to help him.
Yeah.
He's still going to develop there. He's not too old for that, right? Or too highly developed for that or anything. Like he's still a fairly raw guy. Um, I think he is NHL ready, but I don't think it's the end of the world if he gets sent down. I just think it sends a terrible message because he is NHL ready, even though that'll still help him. I think the NHL will help him more.
Yeah. It's really shitty how the NHL is set up right now with this rule because the person that could benefit the most with AHL minutes is Parekh.
Absolutely.
And he's the only one that can't go there. And I think
Yeah.
that's bullshit. It's hard to believe that Hunter Pacific has only played 18 games in comparison to Parekh's 11. Because it feels more like he's just been there all along. He's just going about his business. You know what I mean? Like
Kristevich, you mean?
he makes Brustevich, yeah.
Yeah.
He makes the odd really flashy, really cool play, whether it be a great pass or a really good sidestep and shot and so he does these little things really well. And then every once in a while he has like a brain fart because he's still young and he's
He's a
only played
player.
18. Yeah, he's only had 18 games in the NHL, is what it is, right? So, but I do find that his really cool, really positive plays far outweigh the negativity. That I
Oh,
don't think there's negativity, but like the bad plays. Yeah,
I mean, I think he's had like maybe 5 bad plays in 18
yeah,
games,
yeah,
which is negligible. It's nothing, right?
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
None of them have cost us a game,
No.
whatever, right?
Mm.
And not that it would matter if it did, but
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Yeah, that's a
I just,
shame. I'm kidding.
I just, I don't want him to go down to the
Yeah.
A because I think he's NHL ready, but I think that him being down there isn't the end of the world. That's all I'm saying,
No, I don't
right?
think, but it's the only thing that makes sense from a player standpoint because he's he doesn't have the waivers and so it's it's the less risk involved, right?
Yeah. Plus, like, even now, he's not playing a whole lot of minutes. He gets more opportunities here and there. He's getting on the power play, which is nice.
Mhm.
But if the mandate changes, is he going to get on the power play over Parekh? Who knows, right?
Who knows? I suppose
Honestly, they should both be on the
that'll
fucking
come
power play.
down. Yeah, they
Put
should
two right-handed D on the
one and
power
two.
play. Who cares?
Well, they can quarterback 1 and 2, right?
Yeah,
As
but
far as I'm concerned.
yeah, it's just the CHL rule that doesn't allow Parekh to go to the AHL, aside from the conditioning stint he's on, is garbage. Um,
Bullshit.
now,
Yeah.
now, Parekh got so unlucky because he had he not signed his NHL entry level deal, he'd be in college right now,
Mhm.
and he'd be gaining the strength because college. the college schedule allows for more gym time,
Right.
and he'd be playing against fully grown men and playing all of the games with his team that he practices with, right? Semi-pro, almost. You'd say they're close to pro at the college level. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, they're not AHL level, but they're close.
Yeah. I think they're just larger OHL, but yeah, as far as ability.
Yeah. Either way, uh, that would have been ideal, but because he signed his NHL contract just a little bit too early before that rule happened, where the junior players could sign in college younger, that
Mhm.
just happened this past off season. It was too late for him. So, and next year there's likely going to be a rule where um, NHL teams can put one of their junior players into the AHL, just one, I think, is how it's going to be. But Perek lands in the 1 year in between those two things.
Let's see.
It's awful for him. I feel bad for him.
It's just shit luck, shit timing, right?
But I mean, he's making like 750K or whatever. So
He'll get over it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Well, should we wrap her there?
let's do it. Make sure you check out Rocky Mountain Maniacs, the band that does our intro and exit songs. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Hit the notification bell. Seriously, we keep getting people telling us that they do not get notifications when we come online and then they miss our live streams. Don't be one of those people.
There is a fix.
And yeah, follow Chris at armchairgm_pod at on X, and hit me up on Reddit and talk to us on Facebook, all that good stuff. Yeah. Cheers. Go Flames go. And let's hope one of these guys gets traded.
Absolutely. The Rocky Mountain Maniacs do even more than just our intro song. Check them out online on Facebook too. Their Spotify will be in the description. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Go Flames.